All right, so I got something actually pretty cool today, and I'm gonna go open up the shop. We're gonna look at it, and I'm gonna explain a little more how to watch for these kind of deals, but I'm pretty excited because I've been eyeing one of these things for a long time, and I've just never pulled the trigger because I didn't want to spend the money, but it went on a crazy sale, and so I was able to get it for something that I thought was really good. Yeah, so this is that. I had to clean off this table because I never cleaned up after the last project, but let me grab the new thing. A new to me 12,000 pound winch for the 4Runner. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the deal. Harbor Freight has what they call parking lot sales every now and then. And when they do, all of their, I call it their pre-owned section. You know, they got a section of used tools and stuff. All of that usually starts out on sale on Friday at like 20% off. And then every day, Saturday and Sunday, it goes up in sales. So sometimes they throw things for sale like crazy off. Just they're trying to get rid of inventory. Sometimes they don't. So for example, this time, as low as they went for the whole table was 40%. And so I got this winch, which is normally like $550, $600. It's marked for $250 because it's used, and then 40% off of that. So I got it for like $160 after taxes for this 12,000 pound winch. So what these are is somebody bought them and either used them for one adventure and didn't like it, so they take it back, or they bought them and something actually broke and they took it back. What happens with these is they get shipped to a Harbor Freight repair facility, they fix them, and then ship them back to the store, and the store sells them as pre-owned. Now, I bought this today, so I have 5 days to mess around with this thing, see if it works, see how it works, and if it doesn't work or something's broken on it, I can take it back and get all my money back. And if it does work, I got a steal. Got a 12,000 pound winch for 150 bucks. Hard to beat that. So let's dive in, see if we can't get it to work. I don't have a bumper that it can go on right now, but we'll fix that at a later time because I knew I was gonna want one of these. So if I found it for 150 bucks, might as well grab it now and then just hang on to it. So let's play around with all of this and see what in the world we have. All right, I think I figured out what it is. Somebody, whoever the previous person was, grabbed this cable and just threw them in here for no reason, because these are not, this one does go here, but this one does not. This one comes back to here and then runs to the battery. So somebody installed these like a nincompoop, so we're going to unattach these and then connect the correct ones, and then we'll be able to wire it up to the battery. So whoever did this probably blew up their battery and potentially fried this. And so hopefully at the factory, they got a new one of these, but we are going to soon find out. So back to the time lapse, because you don't want to sit here while I do all this. All right, so this is the contraption I have rigged up. I've got it all wired up. I don't really have anywhere to attach it to the battery right now, so it's a good thing I'm a hoarder. We'll snap those over to the battery terminals, and then I'm holding this down with a block of wood. I can kind of run the cable in and out, see how it works. See what she'll do. I got this off, so that should help buy me a little extra time, I do believe. Let's see, how do I want to put it on there? All right, let's turn this on, see if anything blows up. Tell you what's not supposed to happen is me connecting this winch turns the lights on. Why are the lights on? Well, let me get to the bottom of this because I dropped a nut and it landed in my skid plate. Gotta get that back. All right, so I think the mistake was it was not getting a good connection since I loosened up this bolt. And I think somebody tried to bypass the daytime running lights in the past. That's what this looks like. Still weird. This one's on, that one's not on. All right, so what I found is missing is there's supposed to be a little ground wire that comes over and plugs into this. There was not one in this kit, so I'm going to test this out. I just got some ground wire, I'm gonna plug it up here. See if that works. And then if it does, I'm gonna contact Harbor Freight and see if I can get parts for it. All right, that's all it needed. Let's go ahead and do the rest of the test, and then I'll call Harbor Freight. It also was supposed to have like a hook and some other stuff for it that doesn't have, so I'd like to get those too. So it does work, it's just missing some pieces, so we'll contact Harbor Freight and see if they'll work with us on this. All right, so a quick update. This is the 12,000 pound wire rope winch, which is normally $350 on sale for $300 right now today. And so I got this one used for $150. So really, I got it for like 60% off of retail. But this is what I found on that little cable. They do not have that as a part that they can give me. Since it's an open box, like the store owes me nothing, obviously. I don't argue with them there. So if I want to keep it, I have to come up with my own ground connection, or I can just return the whole thing and get all my money back. I still think it's a good deal, and the $600 winch I was talking about earlier is the synthetic rope. It has a synthetic rope instead of a wire rope, and it's got a fancy hook and stuff. But I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna make a new ground connection because that is very not difficult to make. And yeah, then I'll just have to buy the shackle. I have a shackle somewhere that's an actual shackle, not like a hook. But I think it's gonna work fine. I mean, I bought so many boats, large boats, that I think I have some extra like hooks from cables and things that have just been laying around that I've been collecting over the years. So once again, perks of being a hoarder. But we're gonna keep it, we're gonna make it work, and someday we'll install it when we have a bumper that lets me install it. So let's get this fixed up. All right, so I think I have a fairly simple solution, and it should only require one splice and one, not a splice, but like a terminal. One terminal mount, we'll say that. So this wire I use as a test wire is, I don't know what gauge this is, probably like 10, 12. And I'm pretty sure this is somewhere around like an 18. This is pretty close, so we're gonna use this. It's not black, but it'll get the job done. We don't need that, so. Make sure, all right, everything's grounded. By grounded, I mean grounded to stuff where it cannot zap me. Maybe this is 16 gauge, because I think that's gonna be too small. Let's make this connection waterproof. Let me me see if I have anything else. I was gonna use this, but this is for a little bit larger gauge wire, so see if I have anything else just kind of hidden in this junk drawer. All right, couldn't really find anything else, so we're gonna do what you're not really supposed to do. We'll double up the wire. I think that's gonna be just fine. So I remember back in college, I was kind of like, we fished a lot, and everyone kind of had a boat or grew up with a boat, and most everybody had like a little John boat. And I remember I was looking at getting a boat, and I wanted to get a fiberglass boat, and I wanted to go ahead and have graphs and fancy trolling motors and all crap like that. And I felt like it was cheating. And I felt that way because all the rest of my buddies had kind of grown up like fishing John boats and like learning the ropes on a John boat. So I was like, well, you know, maybe you have to learn the ropes on like something cheaper before you can buy something nice. That way you can like appreciate the nice thing, and then you also just kind of know the basics. I don't really think that's necessarily the case anymore, but with boats I have found if you start simpler, it's easy to learn. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't do maintenance at all on your stuff and you just want to pay somebody to come fix it up for you, then that's fine, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then you can buy whatever you want because you probably have enough money to buy whatever you want. But if you're somebody who kind of fixes your own things and has to figure it all out on your own, it's easier, I found, to start smaller because then it's easier to kind of learn the basics. So for example, first I had a boat that was like just an engine, and then it's like engine and sails, and then I got something with an engine and, well actually no, it didn't have a generator, but anyways, you keep adding more and more systems to your boat or your vehicle, and if you've never worked on them and it already has all of the systems, it's kind of intimidating to even start working on it. But if you've kind of worked, you know, one system at a time and then you get there, it's not as big of a deal. So it's kind of fun to buy this older stuff and then work on fixing it up to be what you need it to be. And then you add one system at a time. And so then as you're out on the trail or adventuring, and then your stuff breaks down or makes a funny sound, you've worked on it enough to kind of know where in the world is this funny sound coming from. If there's a problem, you probably have an idea already of where it's gonna be. And so as you kind of build these things yourself, you get a much better understanding of your vehicle, which is pretty important if you're actually like out off-roading places where there's not much help. Really, a lot of the times you probably still have cell service and can call a friend or a service and they can probably help you out. But on the ocean and sailing, it was definitely not the case. You had to be self-sufficient. But anyways, that's just kind of my spiel for the day. It's nice to know all of your gear and your stuff so that if a problem arises, you are able to fix it yourself. That's my 2 cents. All right, I'm actually gonna, I don't know if I have time. I wanna kind of see if there's a mounting plate down there that I can use or what I have to buy to actually mount it, but it's also gonna be kind of a bear to put all these wires in because all these wires have gotta go somewhere. Yeah, it's gonna be annoying. Not annoying, just tedious. So anyways, we'll hit the pause button for now and then come back later and figure out where we want to put it. All right, so I have a decent idea of what I want to do for the winch mount, so we're gonna take off the bumper and everything again and then start. I think I got a good idea. I can form it up with cardboard, kind of get some good measurements, and then I should have a plasma cutter coming in the mail Saturday, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so I think I have enough of something kind of marked up to make a cardboard sort of cutout. There's a couple of designs that I've looked at online that I'm sort of going off of, but they have more complex geometries that I think are silly. So I'm going to try to do like one smooth sheet and then maybe put some gussets, I'm calling them gussets, and might be something else, welded in there for support. I'd also kind of like to use these bolt holes for extra support, but I'm for sure using the bolt holes in the frame where the tow hooks came out of, because that's going to be the most structural parts. So let's start cutting up some cardboard and stop just sitting and staring at things. All right, so I think I got a good game plan. I have made 2 different cardboard cutouts. I have marked up a bunch of dimensions. So now what I'm actually gonna go do is mock up something on a model software. I use Onshape, it's free to the public. So I can actually link those files below for you if you want them. But I'm also gonna 3D print pieces of it, like these corner pieces, to make sure that I have these angles right, that they'll fit, and it'll work. And so then I'm gonna try to fit that up. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna go model stuff and we'll see what happens. All right, so I modeled it out. I kind of test fitted a few pieces that I 3D printed. I think it's gonna work. So I got drawings. I took pictures of the drawings in my phone, so I used. This is a cheap piece of MRF or some sort of like wood paneling, basically from Lowe's. I'm just gonna draw it out on here. We're gonna cut it out on here, and we're gonna see how it looks. And we'll fit this up, and this will be like an exact test fit. So that'll let us know if my holes are in the right place, if it's lined up, or if I need to tweak something, and I wasted, you know, $2 of material instead of the metal. Well, okay, material cost, yes, but also the labor, because cutting this to fit is gonna be a lot easier than cutting the metal. So I'm gonna give this a go. All right, so I have my fabbed up winch plate bracket down here. This is not metal, this is just like some fiberboard. The bolt holes to get back to where the tow hooks were at, I think are slightly close together. So I'm gonna try to remeasure. I might widen those out by like 0.2 inches. I think that would line them up, and I can wallow out the holes because they have pretty big washers in there. So now I just gotta kind of look at where these other bolt holes are that I want to line up. And I think that's gonna be good. This fits pretty much just like I wanted it to. So we're gonna do a little more exploring, and yeah, I think we're good. This is pretty exciting. Moving on along. All right, so I have been waiting to get to this for a very long time. I finally have a plate of metal that I can use to cut my winch plate out on. This is my form that I made a while back, or my template, if you will. I actually have a drawing of this on Onshape, and I'll probably share the link when we're done. That way, if you're trying to do this on your own, you have a drawing. Obviously, don't hold me accountable. This is strictly my project. It's just on Onshape, and so therefore it is now available for the public, and you can find it. Do your own measurements if you're gonna do this, and make sure you don't copy mine completely, because mine could be off, and we will find out shortly if it is. So we're gonna start measuring this up, try to double and triple check everything before we start cutting. But yeah, I have been dying to get to this, so I'm pretty excited. We'll jump into it. I'll time lapse the whole thing, because otherwise you'll be sitting and watching a lot of boring stuff. All right, this is the first real deal cut. I'll show you it in real time. I plan to try to cut from here to here. I'm gonna give myself a little more space here. All right, I just wanted to make sure I didn't cut off too much material, because can't add material back. There goes nothing. It's not too bad. Cut here to here. I'm gonna just keep on going. Real pretty on the money right there. All that chipping was knocking the slag off. Probably can't hear what I'm saying because I'm not wearing my mic, but all that chipping was getting the slag off of there. The cut looks pretty good, so we'll keep cutting. Nearly killed the camera. All right, that is a big cut right there. The rest of it, we're gonna go fit up a little bit, make sure this fits. Look at the bolt holes, see how these little cuts are gonna line up, and go from there. That's pretty slick. This is the fun part, knocking all the slag off. All right, not bad right there. All right, let's do like a quick test fit up. This is probably still quite warm. Gloves. Actually, it's not too bad. Not as hot as I thought it would be. Definitely not as hot as if you had used a torch. If you cut this thing with the torch, it'd be a lot hotter than that. All right, let's see. Yeah, looks like it's gonna work right there. Now we just gotta line up the bolt holes. Just gotta line up the bolt holes and then see about cutting these little slits out. All right, so we're back to the winch plate. I filmed a little bit the other night because I just needed some chill time to unwind and work on stuff without worrying about filming, but we've actually got it cut out. I have 2 of the bolts that fit. I'm about to cut the other 2 bolt holes. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and fit it up. Once I have it there, I'm gonna figure out where I wanna weld up some more support brackets, drill some more holes through those, and then it's coming together nice. And I'm gonna try to make these plans public so that anybody who wants to do this in the future can use these drawings to help themselves out. Obviously, it's a reference drawing, do it at your own risk, whatnot. All right, let's take the bumper back off and get back to it. Actually lost one of these bolts the other day, somewhere over there on the ground, but I'm gonna get my magnet roller when I'm done with all this, and I should be able to find it. If not, oh well. So the plate sits about here, and I'm gonna try to use these screw holes to weld another piece of metal down here so I can have that for support. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get all this paint off. As I'm doing that, I realize that I don't need the paint off of this, I need the paint and the rust off of the other piece. So that was pointless. Let's go do the other thing. What I actually needed to do is drill these holes. Let's see which comes loose. All right. I think they're gonna work just fine. So let me get my drill. I'm having to work inside and outside the shop because the antique car is in the shop and I haven't been able to finish that project yet. So this is what we got. I was gonna do that, yeah. All right, let's cut the other one. It kind of like rests on some nuts on the backside, but I have to push it all the way on. It gets a little bit complicated here. But I had a friend helping the other day. So I know these at least fit. You know what? I think I might have actually had it on the other way last time. Well, I got it here, so let's see if I can get it in now. Yep, I'm pretty sure this is the way I had it on the other night. Oh, that's heavy. Whew. All right, we finally got those 2 started. So now let's see if the other holes even line up. That does not look like it's lined up. Let's check the other one. Well, that one might be. Holy smokes, I think that one is. Well, it's pretty dang close, but all right. Well, this one I can probably wall her out and be all right. This one is gonna need to move over a little bit. Ugh. All right. So, what size is this? 17. go wire out these holes. All right, I think this is gonna work. All right, this thing is pretty stout, but I'm still gonna put a little supports down there and then kind of go from there. So I'm gonna take the battery off because I'm gonna tack up these little plates that I welded down here to make sure I don't short circuit anything. And hopefully that's how it works so that I don't break anything, because that would be unfortunate. What in the world? Who has a freaking 13? That is dumb. I should probably get some new battery terminals, or whatever the things are that connect to the battery, because these things look jank. All right, with that disconnected, now I should be able to just kind of tack these up. Let me let you come look at these and have a better idea what I'm talking about. All right, so down here I put these little metal wedges on because there's a bolt hole right there that I can use, so that once I weld this together, this bolt will help provide support in that direction. So I'll do both of those, and then I think I'm gonna run a stringer right here. That way it's got a lot of support as it tries to do that. All right, so my little Easy Flux 125 from Harbor Freight is not really meant to weld this 5/8 inch thick plate. However, this is not like super structurally critical. It's more just extra. So I'm gonna give it a go and just see what happens. And I'll probably tack this side up. I'll tack both of them and then move it over here to weld it out. But I also have a little bitty Yes welder that they sent me. The problem is it runs on a 110 circuit, and it's hard to lay down a large weld without tripping the breaker, because everybody's 110 circuit is on a 20 amp breaker. So there was kind of wasn't a great design, but for hobby welding, you know, like little bits here and there, I think you can get away with it as long as you don't burn down your house or your shop. So I'm gonna kind of play around with the cheap stuff I got to see, see what we can make it look like. Probably need to replace this dang tip. It's seen better days. See how she does. So weld this little corner again. Just for kicks and giggles, I think I am going to get the stick welder and try to do this side. See what it looks like. There's that weld. I can't tell if the camera's focusing or not, but again, I'm no welder. I'm just kind of learning, but it doesn't look too bad to me. We'll see what time says. If you're a welder and you're watching this, you're probably having a heart attack right now, but this is just me fiddling around, figuring it out. So I do apologize, but worst case scenario, my winch rips off the front of my truck, so could be pretty bad. Let's get the welding. Might have to grind that off and start over. That's horrible. Holy smokes. That is horribler than horrible. I want to make sure it's still tacked in some places. I don't want to untack it. But I do have to cut this weld out because it's horrible. Let's change that back to a welding. That could burn the eyeballs. You know what? Might not be skilled enough for the stick welding yet. We might just go back to the flex core like a pansy. All right, let's fit this back up. Whew, that's hot. All right, that's exciting. This is what I was worried about, was this one not fitting, but it does. Oh, thank goodness. I do believe it's my AC line, so I would like to not break that thing. All right, 2 of the 4 holes done. How miserable. So I was on the phone with my brother and I did a lot while y'all weren't watching, so my bad. But basically, I wallered out the hose a little bit and I mounted the winch up, and it fits just barely, but it does fit. So now I'm gonna weld a plate on the front for the little roller spool thingy to go. Yeah, that's it for now. I need to kind of unwind a little bit, so I'm just gonna put y'all on time lapse and you can just kind of watch what I do. So it is the next morning. Winch plate is done. I painted it last night, and now we're gonna go ahead and try to put it on the 4Runner, fit up the winch. Hopefully everything still fits, because there were some pretty tight fits, and I know after welding, you know, just introducing that heat into the metal, things kind of move. So hopefully it'll still work. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and bolt it up and then mount up the winch and then go ahead and start trying to get the electrical all hooked up, which I forget that's part of it. I always think of just the mechanical stuff and I forget the electrical comes after. Even right now at work, I'm actually overseeing a large recip compressor overhaul, and all I'm worried about is the mechanical. Like, once we get all the cylinders back in, get everything bolted up, I'm done. It's like, no, that's not the case. I got a lot of electrical work to do after it. I'm not like physically doing the electrical work, but same thing. I forget how big projects always are. So anyways, we're gonna get right to it. I might put y'all in time lapse again. My back hurts from last night, so I'm gonna be moving slow this morning. Is it just me, or do you always only have one type of screwdriver? Like your tool bag, toolbox, whatever, has only flatheads or only Phillips? I don't understand it, but it's always that way, and like whatever the universe decides for you, you either always have a flathead accessible or you always have a Phillips available, but never both. And I don't understand it. Like, all of one disappears. Is that just me, or does that happen to more than one people? Or does that happen to more than one person? All right, we got it all mounted up. I'm gonna try to clean up these wires a little bit. Kind of zip tie out of the way. And I'll probably put a little bit of padding here because it goes through this little sheet metal and it's got some sharp edges right there. Don't want that to damage it. So I need new battery terminals, but we can at least kind of hook it up to this battery right now, test it out, double check, make sure it all works. I haven't tested it in a couple of months. But give this a little test go, and then run to O'Reilly's and get some battery terminals, something that makes it a little more better for hooking up this stuff, because this is not really how you want to do it. But it'll work for now. Let's crank it and see what happens. Make sure I don't have anything about to get got by any of the stuff just sitting around here. I think we're good. All right, let's see if it works. Ah, yes. Not gonna lie, I pooped my pants there for a second. All right, perfect. I got a little bit unspooled while I was trying to do all this work on it, so let's re-spool. Not the prettiest job in the world, but ought to do. Go ahead and get my fancy new hook in there. Start cleaning up a little bit. I'm gonna start modifying the bumper and getting all that in there ready to go. Maybe I'll hook it to a tree and see if I'll just pull myself with it. I think that'd be kind of fun. Time for a little bumper modification. Yep, gonna have to cut that out. This is my best idea for the corners.